The top stories tonight in Y News. The Marcos government expected the fast-track rollout of 194 infrastructure projects through the utilization of public-private partnerships.
Vice President Sara Duterte calls the authorities and other concerned government agencies to end violence against elected officials in the country.
Environmental groups call on the government to be more transparent to the public in addressing the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro.
And 4 senior bankers face charges for aiding Russian President Vladimir Putin to hide his millions of funds.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, the 9th of March, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Maria Latoza.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Mavian Dog.
First in the news. The Marcos government expected a fast-track rollout of 194 infrastructure projects through the utilization of public-private partnerships or PPPs. According to the NEDA chief, the approval of the new infra flagship projects will improve the overall quality of life for Filipinos. Nel Maribohok reports.
The National Economic and Development Authority Board, which is chaired by President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has approved 194 infrastructure projects amounting to about 9 trillion pesos, the bulk of which are projects in irrigation, water supply, and flood management. The list also includes projects in digital connectivity, health, power and energy, agriculture, and other infrastructure. According to NEDA Chief and Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, to hasten the rollout of these projects, the Marcos government will promote the public-private partnerships or PPPs.
To hasten the rollout of these projects, the Marcos administration is strongly promoting the utilization of public-private partnerships or PPPs. One of the cross-cutting strategies likewise identified in the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028.
Secretary Balisacan added that the new approved infra projects are seen to address the binding constraints to business investment and expansion that will create more high-quality and resilient jobs.
More importantly, those will generate job opportunities because, as I said, that will reduce the cost of doing business in the country, that will make our investment climate more attractive.
Some of the new projects included in the new list are the Panay Railway Project, Mindanao Railway Project 3, North Long Haul Railway, San Mateo Railway, UPPGH Diliman Project, NAIA Rehabilitation Project, Ilocos Sur Trans-Basin Project, and the Metro Cebu Expressway. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, we serve the people, we give glory to God.
Vice President Sara Duterte asked the Commission on Elections or COMELEC to give the honoraria of teachers who will serve as electoral boards or EBs before the conduct of the elections. VP Sara explained this is for their expenses such as for food and transportation. Teachers play a crucial role to ensure credible elections. Meanwhile, COMELEC Chairman Judge Erwin Garcia said they are open to VP Sara's proposal, but it is not for them to decide that honoraria for teachers will be given in advance.
Baka naman, sa amin lang, Commission on Elections from the Department of Education, mauna yung bayad sa mga teachers namin bago ang election.
It is possible, we can do that. As to whether it will be kung ito ay babaliwalain ng Commission on Audit, ang tawag nun ay magkakaroon ng notice of disallowance, that is a different ball game altogether. As far as the COMELEC is concerned, we can always do anything para lang sa ikabubuti ng ating mga guro.
Vice President Sara Duterte calls the authorities and other concerned government agencies to end violence against elected officials in the country. Dante Amento tells us why.
Vice President Sara Duterte believes the recent killings or assassinations of some elected officials in the country have a chilling effect or create fear in the public. VP Sara is alarmed by the recent incidents of violence. She stressed it is not enough to condemn those criminal acts, but justice should be served.
It is not enough that we condemn these attacks. The time calls for prosecution for the attackers, the killers, and the masterminds to be jailed.
The official calls for law enforcers to concentrate and end these violent acts immediately. Duterte added if the perpetrators or masterminds will not be put behind bars, these incidents will be repeated.
May I respectfully and humbly join calls for our law enforcement authorities and other concerned government agencies to exhaust their resources, exert their best efforts, and ensure that no acts of violence will happen again to elected officials, their families, their supporters, and their allies.
Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections or COMELEC understands the predicament of the Vice President. They are also hoping to resolve these cases in the soonest as possible time.
Nagpapasalamat tayo na nanggaling din sa ating Vice President yung panawagan sa ating law enforcement authorities na sana mahinto ito at the same time sana magkaroon ng hustisya kaagad yung lahat ng mga nangyaring insidente na ito.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Senate and the House of Representatives on Thursday launched the e-Congress website. E-Congress is an online portal which seeks to strengthen the coordination of the legislative branch as well as to encourage the public to become more active participants in the legislative process. According to Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri, the digital legislative management system would make bills and resolution easier to access. The public can access the website through www.econgress.gov.ph and get updated with the status of bills, which in return will help in preventing fake news. Senator Zubiri also said this would make lawmakers more accountable for their service to the people.
Lawmakers in the Senate aim to approve bills creating a virology institute in the Philippines and a center for disease control. The Senate also said that charter change is not in their priority bills. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri said the Senate prefers to pass bills that would help the Filipino people. According to the lawmaker, the country is still facing the effects of the pandemic and solutions such as wage increase should be reviewed.
Well, it's not the priority of the President. It's also not our priority. Binabatikos na nga kami, hindi namin natatapos yung aming legislative agenda. Ito was charter change pa pag-usapan.
Senator Zubiri also added that discussing charter change would be divisive and would take long discussions. There is also no assurance in a constitutional convention that no political provisions will be amended.
Post-pandemic recovery, a Senate of National Reconstruction, we're going to continue that agenda. We'll continue to be focused on that. Tulungan namin ang Pangulo sa kanyang pagbenta, pag-invite ng mga investors dito sa ating bansa.
Meanwhile, the lawmakers in the House of Representatives are set to approve 3 bills on the third and final reading. Several of these bills are on the priority measures of the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council or LEDAC.
Yung House Bill 7352, that is the accompanying bill of the RBH 6. Yung tatlo na lang. For third reading. The others in the LEDAC, we were able to pass it already this week and last week. So we only have 3 more remaining.
The accompanying bill for the resolution in both houses is also included. House Bill number 7352 includes the provisions and process for a hybrid constitutional convention, where half of the delegates will be elected by the people, while the other half is appointed by the Senate President and House Speaker. Delegates can also come from various sectors, including retired judiciary members to experts to members of the business sector. Farmers, persons with disabilities, and veterans can also become delegates. Qualified delegates for the CONCON should be a natural-born Filipino citizens aged 25 and above and a registered voter. Lawmakers said that the House bill might be approved on the third and final reading in the coming weeks. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The unemployment rate in the country reached 4.8% for the month of January, according to Philippine Statistics Authority. Meanwhile, some labor group appealed to the government to have long-term solutions amid the increasing rate of unemployment. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
The Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA reported today, March 9, the latest unemployment rate in the country, which recorded at 4.8% or 2.37 million Filipinos under the labor force were unemployed in January.
Ang unemployment rate ay naitala sa 4.8% o 48 sa bawat 1,000 individual na nasa labor force ang walang trabaho o negosyo nitong Enero 2023.
According to PSA Undersecretary and National Statistician Dennis Mapa, the employment rate in the country rose at 47.35 million in January from 47.11 million last October. He added that based on the data of PSA, women have a higher percentage of employment rate in January with 95.6% than the 95.0% of employment for men. Men, however, have a higher percentage of unemployment rate with 5%, while women recorded at 4.4%. Jessica Regachuelo said, women nowadays tend to work even if they have families amid the higher inflation in the country.
Hindi na kasi uso ngayon yung pagbabae ka, nasa bahay ka lang. Kailangan kasi nagtatrabaho ka rin. Kasi ngayon nga, ang laki ng expenses ngayon. Hindi naman natin kailangan isisi lahat sa gobyerno or sa ano. Nasa sariling sikap na rin ng tao yan.
Meanwhile, Labor Group leader Jerome Adonis said the government should have long-term solutions to the fears of increasing rates in the country.
Yung pangmatagalan, ang sinasabi namin yung pangmatagalan. Wala kaming problema din doon sa usapin ng unti-unti, no? Kasi hindi naman talaga kaya yung bigla ang absorb lahat ng labor force.
Bernadette Tino, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And foreign news abroad. As Australia's Prime Minister is set to travel to meet the President of the United States next week, it is expected that the two countries, along with the United Kingdom, will close the deal on nuclear-powered submarines. Monica Canlas will tell us why.
The submarine agreement between Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States is taking place under the auspices of AUKUS in San Diego Monday next week. Although it was agreed to give Australia the technology to deploy nuclear-powered submarines, the United States and the UK have not yet specified how the capability will be transferred to Australia, as it lacks a nuclear propulsion industry. Despite an 18-month consultation, there are limitations on technology sharing, thus the antiquated system that manages the U.S. technology is in the process of revising, according to Eli Ratner, top Pentagon official for Asia. A new information sharing would be required for the implementation phase of the submarine program, said an Australian defense expert, Ashley Townshend. According to some experts, it may consider the plan to deploy U.S. and British submarines in Australia for training and filling capability requirements until Australia's submarines are in service, which is expected by 2040. On the other hand, China accused the U.S., the UK, and Australia of threatening regional stability and escalating an arms race. The Australian government has been trying to allay over nuclear non-proliferation worries. Monica Canlas, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
4 senior bankers at Russia's Gazprom Bank branch in Switzerland were accused of assisting a friend of Russian President Vladimir Putin, Sergei Roldygin. The bankers, whose identities are confidential, are known to be 3 Russians and 1 Swiss. The bankers appeared in Zurich District Court on Wednesday as they faced charges for aiding Russian President Vladimir Putin to hide his millions of francs under the name of Roldygin. $50 million in Swiss accounts were reportedly placed under the name of Roldygin between 2014 and 2016, but the source of funds could not be established. Roldygin is known as Putin's friend and a godfather to Putin's eldest daughter. Prosecutors stated that the bankers did not have sufficient evidence to prove the identity of the true beneficial owner of the funds. Roldygin's defense lawyer, on the other hand, stated that doubts on the identity of Roldygin being the true owner of the account is insufficient from a criminal point of view. The indictment paper made mention of Putin's official income of 100,000 Swiss francs, or around $106,000, but extensive assets were reportedly managed by people close to Putin, such as Roldygin. Roldygin, a cellist and conductor, previously confirmed that he is not a businessman, nor a millionaire. The 4 bankers continue to deny all charges, and the verdict is expected to be out by the end of the month. We'll share more global stories with you later.
For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Thousands of family food packs from the Department of Social Welfare and Development have arrived in Oriental Mindoro to help the families who have been affected by the oil spillage. Japan has also expressed their readiness to send experts to help in cleaning the oil spill, while Pola Mayor Jennifer Cruz is also studying the possibility of filing a lawsuit against the owner of the submerged Mount Princess Empress. Alan Manansala will tell us why.
Walang Mindoreñong mangingisdang magugutom. Wala.
Because of the severe effect of the oil spill coming from the submerged empty Princess Empress to the ocean, fishing in the areas affected by spillage had been prohibited. As a result, a large number of residents have been deprived of their means of livelihood, like Mr. Alain Kai, who has opted to work as a fish vendor instead of engaging in fishing.
May lambatan kami, ngayon hindi na kami makapaglambat. Yan, ito na lang. Namamakyaw na lang ng bangus na lang kayang itinda. Dahil wala talagang bumili ng isdang dagat.
While Mr. Florante Fabroa plans to resort into vegetable farming utilizing their small piece of land. Nevertheless, they are still anticipating assistance from the government.
Nagtatanim po, pero sa ngayon po hinihintay pa rin namin yung kung ano pong magagandang ibibigay sa amin ng gobyerno kasi hindi naman kaagad maano yung panghanap buhay namin.
Likewise, Governor Dolor made certain that they will continue to deliver help to all the affected residents.
Kada 4 na araw hanggat kakayanin namin, magdadala po dito ng supply ng pagkain sa bawat mangingisdang naapektuhan.
A while ago, 3,380 family food packs from the Department of Social Welfare and Development arrived in the province of Mindoro. The aid was scheduled to be distributed to the 3 towns, namely Nauhan, Pinamalayan, and Pola, that were severely impacted by the oil spill. Meanwhile, 10,980 family food packs from the remaining towns will arrive tomorrow as per the directive of the President to provide aid through the national government. Aside from this, the agency along with the Department of Labor and Employment will also allocate cash for work. While Japan has sent oil experts from the Japan Coast Guard to help the Philippine Coast Guard in their oil spill response operation. From the Twitter post of the Ambassador of Japan in the Philippines, he said that the GCG oil experts from the Disaster Relief Expert Team on Oil Removal and Control are now on their way to help with the operation. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, is also studying the possibility of asking for support from the participants of the Balikatan exercises of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and United States Armed Forces to help cleaning the oil spill affected areas. Meanwhile, Paula Mayor Jennifer Cruz is hoping that the RDC Reels Marine Services Incorporated, the owner of the submerged MT Princess Empress, will provide concrete help to the residents of Pola, which has the most severely affected by the oil spill. Mayor Cruz has also formed a special task force Pola that will focus and will conduct a study to find what cases can be filed against the owner of the oil tanker. Alan Manansala, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, environmental groups call on the government to be more transparent to the public in addressing the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro. Impact could reach billions of pesos, particularly in tourism and fishing industry. Ray Palayo will tell us why.
The KaragatanPatrol.org website shows how the oil spill in Oriental Mindoro reaches different municipalities. The Marine Science Institute of the University of the Philippines estimates that around 36,000 areas of coral reef, mangroves, and seagrass can be affected by the sea incident.
Most likely, itong mga coastal habitats na to, pag i-off ko lang yung red polygon. So yan, may mga affected coral reefs na siya dito. Yan, may mga seagrass, may mga mangroves na po. Ito yung mga extent of ecosystems that can be affected or that are affected already sa oil spill na to.
The mayor of Libertad, Antique, has been worrying that the oil spill might reach her town.
Ngayong panahon na to, ito yung tuna season dito sa area namin. So, tons of tunas are being caught through sustainable fishing. At hindi namin pinapapasok yung mga commercial fishers dito. But I'm just so worried na baka lang mag-change, mag-shift ang hangin at pupunta dito sa Northern Antique.
Danny Ocampo of the Oceana Philippines witnessed the Guimaras oil spill in 2006. He noted that the government should learn from it already and prepared the necessary measures in the past years.
We think there's not enough information that's available para there's preparedness. People in Antique are reaching out to Oceana and maybe the other NGOs para tanungin kami, what should we do just in case yung oil will reach our shores? I saw people before sa Guimaras na tinatabo-tabo yung oil with no personal protection equipment, and I saw that again in Pola.
Paul Horstman of the Greenpeace, also a marine biologist that worked with oil spill incidents in different parts of the globe. He observed the biggest mistakes of governments in addressing the oil spill. Horstman noted that transparency is important in this situation so the public knows how to deal with it.
So they tend to undermine the impacts that might happen, and they tend to overestimate the efforts that they can put in to try to remove the oil, because they all talk about cleanup. You can't clean up after an oil spill. The oil is in the environment. The only things you can do is try to protect areas that have not been impacted so far. You need to try to remove oil safely from the environment, but you can't clean it up.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Operations in some resorts in Oriental Mindoro are affected following the oil spill incident. Several guests are already canceling their accommodation booking because of the incident. Gladys Tuwapi will tell us why.
Summer season is going near, where a number of resort guests and tourists are expected. However, with the oil spill problem in Oriental Mindoro, some resorts in the province are already experiencing canceled bookings.
Well, unang-una po ma'am, marami po kaming mga guests na mga nag-cancel ng booking since yung buong coastline nga po ng Oriental bawal magligo ang mga tao. And then at the same time, yung supply rin po ng aming mga fish sa aming restaurant na apektuhan din po kasi wala nga pong makapalaot ng mga isda.
Booking inquiries have also dropped from the usual fully booked rooms.
Kasi dati every Saturday, Sunday talagang may fully book kami eh. Pero parang ngayon, hindi ganun kagrabe yung mga nagpapabook, wala na masyadong nag-i-inquire.
Resorts are also afraid if they will be directed for a temporary closure, as their workers will also be affected.
Kung ipapasara muna, susunod naman po kami. Pero yun nga lang, inano namin sa mga empleyado namin na syempre, pag wala po rin kaming choice. Wala po silang trabaho, nakakaawa naman po yung mga tauhan namin. Pero sana po, if dumating sa point na gano'n, may dumating nga po na tulong from government para po sa mga empleyado na maapektuhan.
The Department of Tourism recently conducted a site validation to affected areas in Oriental Mindoro to better assess what help they will be providing. Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, started the dry run of motorcycle lane along Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City. The agency aims to commence the full implementation of the new road scheme by March 20. JP Nunez will tell us why.
Earlier today, March 9, traffic personnel of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA started the 11-day dry run of implementing the exclusive motorcycle lane along Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City. They gave commands to motorcycle riders, public transportation, and private vehicles to pass through their designated lanes. The outermost lane of the Commonwealth Avenue was designated for bicycles. The second lane will be for public vehicles. The third lane, which was painted with blue markings, are for motorcycle, and the remaining inner lanes are for private vehicles. MMDA Acting Chairman Romando Artes said the dry run will be until March 19 before strictly implementing it on March 20. There will be no apprehension during the dry run period. However, once the new traffic regulation commences on March 20, violators will then be fined 500 pesos. Meanwhile, motorcycle riders who tested the exclusive motorcycle lane this morning had positive remarks on the scheme. However, they hope that authorities will strictly implement the regulations and motorists will be more disciplined.
Okay sa amin mga motorcycle. Basta masunod lang yung nila. Palakad sa panghuhuli. Ang nangyari sa mga jeep tsaka bus, pag may pasero, umu-overtake, kaya mahirap din. At simple na talaga yan. Wala tayong magagawa dyan.
The exclusive motorcycle lane was intended to reduce the motorcycle-related incidents along Commonwealth Avenue. The MMDA data shows that there was an average of 5 motorcycle-related incidents in a day recorded last 2022 in one of the widest thoroughfares in Metro Manila, dubbed as Killer Highway. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Eating green leafy vegetables for at least 6 times per week or not eating fried food has been linked to a fewer clustering or clumping of proteins in the brain, according to a study conducted by Rush University in Chicago, USA. Nerissa Dando will give us the details live. Good evening, Nerissa.
Good evening, Marielle. It was found out using 2 similar diets, the Mediterranean diet and the Mayan diet, that eating 6 or more servings of green leafy vegetables resulted in having plaque amounts in the brain close to 19 years younger compared to those who ate fewer servings per week. Research author Pooja Agarwal from Rush University Medical Center stated that consuming more green leafy vegetables, nuts, whole grains, and fruits could prevent too much buildup of proteins in our brain that may lead to the development of Alzheimer's disease. 581 people, with the majority were female, agreed to participate in the study and donate their brains at death. Participants had an average age of 84 years at the time of the diet assessment. An average of 7 years of data were recorded from their participation, and around 383 participants met the criteria for Alzheimer's disease during post-mortem. Mediterranean diet suggests eating more green leafy vegetables, fruits, and at least 3 servings of fish per week, while the Mind diet focuses on green leafy vegetables such as spinach, kale, along with other types of vegetables, and prioritizes eating berries over other fruits. Each participant completed an annual questionnaire to find out the variation in food intake. All questionnaires were scored according to guidelines. The study found out that those who followed the Mediterranean diet closely and scored the highest had an average plaque and tangle amounts in their brain identical to being 18 years younger than people who scored lowest and did not follow the Mediterranean diet closely. Similarly, those people who followed the Mind diet closely and scored highest had an average plaque comparable to 12 years younger than those who scored lowest. Dr. Agarwal added that future studies are still required. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Nerissa Dando, for that live report. In other news, on Wednesday, March 8, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky and the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, met at Kyiv calling to renew the grain export on the 18th of March. The deal will be set to continue if parties decide to agree. Initially, the deal was set for 120 days and was negotiated in July last year and then extended in November. Standing next to the President Zelensky, Secretary General Guterres delivered his speech during his visit to Kyiv.
I want to underscore the critical importance of the rollover of the Black Sea Grain Initiative on 18 March and of working to create the conditions to enable the greatest possible use of export infrastructures through the Black Sea in line with the objectives of the initiative.
All efforts for the deal to be renewed are being made with UN trade official Rebecca Grinspan meeting Russian officials to discuss matters regarding the topic. Russia, however, is demanding that restrictions regarding payment, logistic and insurance industries impacting their own agricultural exports must be lifted in order for them to agree to continue the deal. Meanwhile, Ukraine and Russia are significant contributors to grain and fertilizer global supplies, with President Zelensky affirming that the extension for the Black Sea Grain Initiative was critical for world food security and prices. A bankrupt cryptocurrency lending company based in New Jersey is welcoming other bids despite an offer deal that would grant them an exit from Chapter 11. Annie Mancilia tells the details live. Yes, Annie.
Bankrupt crypto lender selected NovaWolf Digital Management's bid in February. The company's creditors committee is currently reviewing an alternate proposal from a potential buyer, as stated by Celsius Network's attorney Chris Koenig at a hearing in bankruptcy court in Manhattan. With NovaWolf's offer, Celsius customers will be able to cash out less than $5,000 in crypto deposits, as well as an exit to Chapter 11 or a type of bankruptcy as early as June of this year. However, if Celsius decides to go with an alternate offer, Attorney Koenig said they intend to pay NovaWolf a break-up fee of up to $20 million. NovaWolf won the bid on February 15, 2023. Out of 130 proposals, decided to remain silent on Celsius' solicitation of other bids. Meanwhile, U.S. bankruptcy Judge Martin Glenn has agreed to an extra 3 weeks as requested by the New Jersey-based crypto lender to file their reconstructing plan. Marielle?
Thank you, Annie Mancilia, for that live report. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. Our kasambahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of Members Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with the word giving glory to God from the book of Philippians chapter 2 verse 13. It says, "For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good purpose." And those are the reasons behind the news, March 9, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Mavian Dog.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Maria Latoza. We serve the people. We give glory to God.